On today's episode of Two Guys Talking Sports, we will cover the NFL draft for the 2024 season.
A lot of confusing picks.
Yeah, a lot of confusing picks. So get in here and get our takes on this.
Subscribe if you haven't. Speaking of paint, hold on. My hatred for David Tepper kind of hit a peak over the weekend because some restaurant had a sign that said let the GM and the coach pick. He actually stopped in the restaurant, but it ended up not being as bad as people thought. Like the manager, the owner said he was very nice, like kind of in a joking manner. So I guess I'll back off a little bit with David Tepper.
I guess you couldn't really hear the audio of what he was saying to the, which I've only like breezed past the clip.
Well, the guy that had the hat on was an Eagles hat.
Okay.
So I think that's why he did it, but I think he was the manager. So, but yeah, I mean, if you
turns out it was kind of a joking thing,
according to the owner. I think that was the owner who gave that interview. So we'll see. We'll back off of them a little bit, but I guess I got to pull for the Panthers a little bit now.
Yep.
That's what one of our friends said.
South Carolina had 4 players drafted. Obviously, Xavier Legette, first round to the Panthers. Spencer Rattler, 5th round to the Saints. Marcellus Dial, 6th to the Patriots. And Nick Gargiulo, 7th round to the Broncos.
People were I don't know what you're about to say. Are you going to talk about Spencer?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
So there was a lot of, as soon as he got drafted, coming into the draft, there was a lot of, you had people like RG3 who was like, Spencer Rattler's the best quarterback in the draft.
Yeah.
Like he was adamant about that for weeks and weeks. I mean, he made video after video. Yeah. And there were tons of, quarterback pundits and stuff who said like he's NFL talent. Like he's got it. But then he falls to the 5th round.
But I mean, he was projected like I think he was always going to be like a day 3 draft person. So it's not like he dropped very far. And another thing
that's fine. The reasoning,
but the thing is, he was the first quarterback taken after the first round. Like there's a high number of picks outside of after JJ McCarthy got drafted. But continue.
Yeah, the reasoning for them saying, these GMs saying that they were, weary to draft him was because of that Netflix, QB1 documentary when he was 17 years old.
I've got a take on this because people, and we give Beamer a hard time. He sticks up for his players. I think that's a bunch of hogwash and BS because according to Beamer, every coach he talked with, listen, if you're like, no stuff we did when we were 17 and 18, we're not that same person. Now, I'm not saying we did bad stuff.
Exactly.
But you mature and you grow up. And if it's like, if you met with this guy, stuff didn't work out.
Right.
And the thing with Netflix is like, they can edit that stuff to make it
you
seem
look
like
one way
bad.
Or the other. Right.
And I'm not saying he wasn't bad.
Right.
I mean, but what 17-year-old, 18-year-old kid that is that highly recruited isn't a little cocky, a little bit of arrogance?
You're telling a kid you're the best player in the nation. We're going to put you on Netflix. Like we're doing something we haven't done for other number one, recruits before. We're putting you on we're giving you your own show. And we're doing all these things. Of course, at 17 years old, he's going to be a little bit cocky.
Yeah, and then everything didn't work out at Oklahoma. But when he got to South Carolina, if you can't tell, and we're passionate about this because we're Gamecock fans, but even just from like a subjective view, like if you can't see the growth he had from maybe his freshman year at Oklahoma to his senior year at South Carolina, because his 2 years at South Carolina possibly had some of the worst offensive line protection and help in the country.
Yeah.
And did you once hear what him belittle or bash them? No. It's even when a receiver would make a mistake, he was always there. Like you grow, and if you meet with these teams and you talk with them, and they still have that concern, and I don't think they did. I just think they're just trying to play up something on the coverage to try to get more views.
Yeah,
it's such a sad and lazy take. Like I mean,
it is.
Again, like
if that's truly how they felt, then they've got to be idiots because you come in and your draft kids have been arrested, had drug charges, had, any kind of other charges.
Yeah.
Not to say that a lot, but there have been cases where you'll still take those kids in the first round.
Yeah.
You had the guy from Georgia, the defensive end last year, who got in a hit and run or a car racing accident where someone died, he still went round one. Nobody was, worried about him.
His character. But
exactly.
You're talking about a 17-year-old kid.
Yeah, who was 5 or 6 years ago.
Yeah. It's lazy. And I think that shows how monotonous this whole draft process is.
Yeah, they got to day 3. There was nothing else to talk about. So we had to bring up a player who was always, coming into his college career, he's going to be a first-round draft pick. That was always the thing, and it kind of fell. But I think, honestly, for him, I think he landed in a very good spot. I think that there's not a lot of pressure of him being a first- or second-round pick. No. He can go in and follow behind Derek Carr, learn from someone who can also help him mature.
Yeah.
And then just kind of sit there and just kind of do the Jordan Love thing. Just take 2 or 3 years, learn the game, and then come in.
And it may not even be a thing where he's ever like a consistent starter in the NFL. I mean, there's only so many spots that you can be a starting quarterback. But again, it's just royally pissed me off.
Yeah, just a bad take.
Yeah.
Clemson had 6 players drafted. Nate Wiggins in the first round to the Ravens. Rook, I don't even know how to say that name.
Honestly, I'd never heard of that guy. I know we don't cover Clemson as hard, but I'm pretty, confident. Like, I'd never heard of this guy before. Yeah.
But he goes second round to the Falcons. Will Shipley, 4th round to the Eagles. Xavier Thomas, 5th round to the Cardinals.
Florence guy.
Yep. Jeremiah Trotter Jr., 5th round to the Eagles, and Tyler Davis, 6th round to the Rams. So
good for Xavier.
I think the shocking one for Clemson was the Will Shipley, just because he had all this hype, obviously during his college career. At one point, people were touting him as a Heisman candidate.
Yeah.
And then now, which in the running back position in the NFL is just not what it was.
You have
before.
To be a very, very special player, at least at the running back
Bijan
position.
Robinson, last year. But other than that, running backs are a dime a dozen in the NFL,
and they get moved on pretty quickly.
Yeah, because they can pretty much find these guys that went to smaller schools. They signed them.
Well, they just have a smaller shelf life in the NFL.
They do, it's more of a passing game now. So it's really what you can do in the passing game, and not necessarily what you can do running the ball.
And another thing. I don't think there was a lot of picks before the first defensive player was taken in the draft in the first round, because majority of the rules they're making or changes they're making are catering to the offense. Like, it's going to be impossible to play defense.